Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's lecture. Um, Today's topic is quite special topic. It's motivation. This topic I covered on offline lecture. So many students, I hope all students can recognize what motivation is and why entrepreneur focus on motivation issue like that. So after finish to explain the motivation series on offline class, some students asked me to make the online lecture for this topic because someone really have interest for the motivation. So that's why I prepare this topic much more detail. Okay, so I'm really excited to dive into this topic with all of you today because motivation is absolutely critical for entrepreneurial success. As you know, I've been working in HR and organizational development for many years, and I can tell you from experience that the difference between startups that succeed and those that fail often comes down to one thing: motivation. So, not just the founder's motivation, but the motivation of the entire team. So today we are going to spend about 1 hour maybe or 1.5 hour together exploring the fascinating world of motivation theory and how you can apply it practically in your entrepreneurial journey. So whether you are planning to start your own company, you are already running a startup, or you are interested in organizational management, maybe this lecture will give you concrete tools and frameworks that you can use immediately. So now, before we jump in, let me give you a quick overview of what we will cover today. So we will start by understanding what motivation really is and why it's so crucial in entrepreneurship. Then we will dive deep into the major motivation series. Yes, everyone know that. So Maslow hierarchy of needs, and the first year's theory, Hertzberg two-factor theory. I'm gonna write it for you. Oh, is it works? I hope. Oh, it doesn't work. Anyway, so Hertzberg two-factor theory and McClelland's achievement motivation theory and self-determination theory and expectancy theory from Vroom. So I know that sounds like a lot of series, but don't worry, everyone already know that this theory is not too difficult to understand. So we are going to make this practical and applicable. For each theory, I will show you exactly how it applies to startup situations and give you real examples. So after we cover all theories, we will talk about entrepreneurial self-motivation management. Because let's face it, as an entrepreneur, there will be days when you wake up and think, why am I doing this? So we need strategies to handle those moments. Then we will discuss practical team member motivation series strategies, look at some real cases, and finally develop action plans that you can implement right away. Okay, all right, let's take a look at our learning objective for today's. Everyone already see this objectives, but we need to see and focus on more our objectives. So by the end of this lecture, so you may be able to do four key things. First, understand the core concept of major motivation theory and understand more deep about the motivation theory. Not just to memorize them, but really understand how they work and why they matter. Second, analyze entrepreneurs' motivational structures. So this means being able to look at yourself or other entrepreneurs and understand what drives them, what might cause them to lose motivation, and how to maintain that drive. Third, learn methods to improve organizational efficiency through team member motivation. This is crucial because as entrepreneurs, we often have limited resources. We can't always pay the highest salaries or offer the best benefits. So we need to know how to motivate our teams in creative, effective ways. And fourth, last one, develop practical application skills through the real startup cases. So theory is great, of course, but we need to know how to actually use it in the real world. So if we have enough time, um, I'm trying to explain the real cases and also how to apply these theories in real cases. So it is a good chance to understand in a real business era with the theory. Okay, so let's start with the fundamental. So first part is understanding motivation and entrepreneurship. So what is motivation? The really boring definition, really boring as academic definition is that motivation is the psychological force that initiates and sustains action toward goals. So let me break that down because every word in the definition is important. First, it's psychological force. It is internal. It's in your mind and your emotions. It's not something external like a rule or physical barriers itself. Second, it both initiates and sustains. This is the first part for important thing, initiates and sustains. So this is crucial to understand. Initiation means it gets you started. It's that spark that makes you say, I am going to do this. But sustaining means it keeps you going when things get so tough. So, and believe me, in entrepreneurship, things will get tough. So you will face rejection, you will face failures, you will face moments of doubt. The motivation that sustains you through those times is just as important, maybe even more important than the initial motivation that got you started. And finally, it's directed toward goals. This is the last one. Motivation is not random energy. So it has a direction and purpose. So now, why is motivation important in entrepreneurship especially? I want to highlight three key reasons. So number one, it provides continuous drive into uncertain environment. So think about it. When you work at an established company, there is structure, there are clear processes, there are predictability. So you know you will get your paycheck on the 25th of every month. You know what your job responsibility are. So you know who to report to. But in startup, everything is uncertain. So you might not know if you will have enough money to pay salaries next month, unfortunately. So you might pivot your entire business model. So you might face a competitor you did not even know existed. In this environment of constant uncertainty, motivation is what keeps you moving forward. So number two is motivation directly impacts team engagement and team productivity itself. In startups, we often talk about doing more with less. More with less. Mhm. So you might have a team of 5 people doing the work that would take 20 people in a large corporation. So how is that possible? It's possible when people are highly motivated. When someone is motivated, they are not just punching a clock from 9 to 5. They are thinking about the work when they are in the shower. They are coming up with creative solutions. They are willing to put in extra effort because they care about the outcome. So research shows that so highly engaged and motivated, which means the motivated employee, so can be up to they have 2.5 times more productivity. It's quite huge. So so they have much high productive than unmotivated employees. So in a startup where resources are limited, of course, I said several times, that difference can be the difference between success and failure. And number three, motivation is key to achieving maximum results with limited resources. So this ties back to what I just said. In entrepreneurship, you almost never have all the resources you need. So you don't have unlimited budget, unlimited time, unlimited people. So how do you compete against established companies with more resources? Through motivation. A small, highly motivated team can outperform a large, unmotivated team every single time. Okay, so now let's talk about the specific connection between entrepreneurship and motivation. This is really interesting because entrepreneurs often have a unique motivational structure compared to employees at traditional companies. So we can broadly categorize motivation into two types: intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation. As I explained on offline lecture, intrinsic means that these parts, maybe smile. Extrinsic means that from the outside. So intrinsic motivation comes from within this one. So it's about internal satisfaction and enjoyment. For entrepreneurs, this typically includes things like innovation, the joy of creating something new, happy to create new things, and problem solving, which means the satisfaction of figuring out what? Figuring out difficult challenge. And autonomy pursuit means that the freedom to make your own decision and control your own destiny. So the keyword is own thing. So extrinsic motivation comes from external rewards. This era, yes. So for entrepreneurs, this includes economic success, making money, achieving financial security, and social recognition, being recognized as successful, gaining startup and respect. So now here's what's fascinating about entrepreneurs. They typically have what we call a dual motivational structure. They are motivated by both. So personal achievement and social value creation. So let me explain what I mean. Many entrepreneurs are not just motivated by making money for themselves. They are also driven by a desire to create value for society, to solve problems that affect other people, to make a positive impact on the world. This combination of personal and social motivation is incredibly powerful. So think about some of the most successful entrepreneur, Elon Musk, my favorite entrepreneur. So he is not just trying to make money. Oh, sorry. So the good example is Elon Musk. So he is not just trying to make money. He is trying to make humanity a multi-planetary species to solve climate change through electric vehicles. And Bill Gates is not just wealthy. He is dedicating his life to solving global health and education problems. So these entrepreneurs are driven by both personal achievement goals and broader social value creation goals. And you know what? This dual motivational structure is actually a competitive advantage. So when you are motivated by more than just the money, you are more resilient. When things you get thought financially, you still have that sense of purpose, that belief in the social value of what you are doing to keep you going. So as we go through the motivation series today, I want you to think about your own motivational structure. What really drives you? So this is the key words today. What really drives you? You must keep in mind for this. Okay. So understanding your own motivation is the first step to managing it effectively. Okay, so now that we understand the fundamentals of motivation and its connection to entrepreneurship, let's dive into the core motivation series. This is where we are going to spend most of our time today. because these theories are the foundation for everything else we will discuss. Okay, so let's have a